Hello and welcome again to AGI Joe Show. Yo! Hello and welcome. Today I'm heard a conspiracy. I'm read about it, and maybe for many year already this go on. The conspiracy about a strong country, the great country, like America, Australia, Japan. They will be give a humanitarian people, and they will be given AIDS, the AIDS disease, to a poor country like Africa, Asia, Europe, and Pakistan, and all other poor countries. Like this, they will get AIDS from the strong country like America. And this aid is given by a people who will humanitarian people. So humanitarian. So who will the humanitarian person? The humanitarian person is a many mental man, a crazy, like a psychologist, the crazy man. So why will he so many crazy? Because for a humanitarian person will eat a human being.
It's a big burp.
Like a vegetarian will eat a vegetable. Like a non-veg person eat a non-veg. A humanitarian will eat a human. Also, this
India's share of the world economy when Britain arrived on its shores was 23%. By the time the British left, it was down to below 4%. Why? Simply because India had been governed for the benefit of Britain. Britain's rise for 200 years was financed by its depredations in India. In fact, Britain's industrial revolution was actually premised upon the deindustrialization of India. The handloom weavers, for example, famed across the world, whose products were exported around the world, Britain came right in. There were actually these weavers making fine muslin, light as woven air, it was said. And Britain came right in, smashed their thumbs, broke their looms, imposed tariffs and duties on their cloth and products, and started, of course, taking the raw materials from India and shipping back manufactured cloth, flooding the world's markets with what became the products of the dark and satanic mills of Victorian England. That meant that the weavers in India became beggars, and India went from being a world-famous exporter of finished cloth into an importer, went from having 27% of world trade to less than 2%. Meanwhile, colonialists like Robert Clive bought their rotten boroughs in England on the proceeds of their loot in India, while taking the Hindi word loot into their dictionaries as well as their habits. And the British had the gall to call him Clive of India, as if he belonged to the country, when all he really did was to ensure that much of the country belonged to him. By the end of the 19th century, the fact is that India was already Britain's biggest cash cow, the world's biggest purchaser of British goods and exports, and the source of highly paid employment for British civil servants. We literally paid for our own oppression. There was reference to democracy and rule of law. Let me say with the greatest possible respect, it's a bit rich to oppress, enslave, kill, torture, maim people for 200 years and then celebrate the fact that they're democratic at the end of it. We were denied democracy, sir. We had to snatch it, seize it from you. What is required, it seems to me, is accepting the principle that reparations are owed. Personally, I'd be quite happy if it was £1 a year for the next 200 years after the last 200 years of Britain and India. Thank you very much, Madam President.